why did I quit the visual effects and feature film industry? Everybody, this is Alessandro. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the decision that I took like more or less 6 years ago to leave that part of the industry and go back in games and just stay in games. And by all means, guys, that doesn't mean you should not work in that industry or this industry is doomed or whatever. I just want to share why it wasn't for me anymore, and maybe you're interested about the reason or the state of the industry and so on. All right, guys. So let me roll back like almost 8 years back when I was working in Singapore. I was a supervisor working on TV series studios, and like everyone else, like many other animators, still was a dream for me to work in feature film or visual effects. All right, I never had the chance to work in a production where I can really polish my animation, make it really shine. So I was still very eager to come into the industry and to work some amazing shots and stuff like that, and really put it on my demo reel or just have my name in the credits and stuff like that. All right, and obviously I knew back then that the quality of my demo reel wasn't good enough, so I told me I was working on a personal reel just to improve my skill. And during the time, I don't know if you guys remember that there was a moment where people were complaining about the visual effects industry because of the salary were not good, contract were all temporary, not nothing definite, stuff like that, right? And if you remember, a lot of people, as a form of this protest, they will change their own profile picture of a green screen, right, which is the symbol of visual effects. I admit that protest didn't affect me personally because I was still not part of that industry, but I was following with my eyes what was going on, right? Because I knew at some point I wanted to work there. And so, fast forward, a couple of years forward, where I finally had a good demo reel that was good enough to give me a job, I started to apply for a job for feature film and visual effects. And lucky enough, quite easily, I managed to find my first job in Micros, Canada. My contract was 10 months or something like that. And right after, I already got a contract for Sony to work on Hotel 3 Transylvania, right? And basically the contract of Sony started 2 weeks after my first contract in Micros. I was very lucky because apparently Sony was hiring very, very early, as much as 1 year early than the production of Hotel Transylvania. And so basically I almost locked 1 year and a half in Canada. All right. Okay, so I started my first job in Micros, feature film. I was quite excited. Things were a little bit slow at the beginning, but one of the things I realized, the status of the industry, because when I was there during the production, I did remember that the company says, "Hey guys, don't worry. I know some of you guys are worried where, what's gonna happen at the end of the contract, but we already have a lot of project lined up for after this current project, so you guys don't have to worry about it. We have 3-4 projects. We can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's very exciting." So I was like, okay, this doesn't sound too bad. It looks like this company will do good. But funny things is that even towards the end of the production, they didn't tell us anything about those projects. I mean, for me personally, I didn't care because I knew I already have another project with to work with Sony, so I knew I would move to Sony already. But I was still very interested to observe the behavior of a company, because 6 months ago they were like, okay guys, no worry, we have plenty of other projects. And when it comes towards the end of the production, where people contracts start to get closer to the expiration date, the company didn't tell us anything. And in fact, another weird thing is that almost towards the end, the company was like, okay guys, we realized that we screw up with the schedule. We need to extend the animation deadline about 3 to 4 months. And so basically at the last minute, they were asking for people if they could extend their stay for 3-4 months, right? But again, it was the last minute things. Obviously I say no, because as I mentioned, I had another job. But it started to feel quite weird. It was the first time I saw something like that. So then I go to Sony, all right, I work on Hotel Transylvania. And over there was kind of the same things, because I know that they were working on Hotel Transylvania, and toward the middle of the production of Hotel Transylvania, they started to work on the first Spider-Verse. And obviously, they have 2 separate teams. But at some point, when a few people finished Hotel Transylvania, some of them, they moved them into the Spider-Verse, and other they just say, okay, we don't gonna renew your contract, because apparently they did not have a lot of other projects for people to work. But the other things is, again, they will let people know at the last minute. And I thought maybe this was kind of an abnormal things, but I talked with people that were inside of the company, and they told me, no, Alessandro, this is actually normal. Most of the time they let you know 1 week early. Most of the time, for example, if there is no project, they will still keep in the company, but they will freeze your salary for 3 months maybe, so you can take a vacation or whatever, and then you can go back later. Or if there is another project, at the last minute they let you know. Again, it's all last minute, so it's very difficult for you to make plans. In my cases, for example, I didn't have anything right after, all right? So because I couldn't find another job, there was not a lot of other jobs at that moment. At the very end, they basically asked me to extend another month for Hotel Transylvania, because I stayed basically until the end of the production. And what it happens is they needed to do some no visual effects, sorry, some advertisement for the movie, and they need someone to animate the shots, so they get me and a few other animators to do those shots really at the end. Just they extend for a month at the last minute. I remember they sent me a message, hey, Alessandro, are you available for another month or something? I said, okay, sure, why not? But after that, I took a vacation, and my last job in Canada was very lucky. I know at that time there was not a lot of job opening. I applied for a few jobs, and again, everybody was applying, because obviously when a lot of people finish the job in Sony and they didn't have anything else, what everybody else does, they apply all over Vancouver, right? And again, there was very few spots available and a lot of people applying. So again, not a very good situation to be with. Applied for other companies, they didn't reply. Then one of my friends told me, Alessandro, why don't you contact directly the recruiter on LinkedIn? I was like, what am I gonna do for? Why bother them? I already sent them an email through the company. He says, yeah, but sometimes, people might not see them, my email might be missed. I was like, it's very hard to believe so, because it's a system. How can you just lose an application like this? But I did anyway. I listened to my friend's advice. And he was right. I contacted the recruiter from Method that says, hey, hi, how are you doing? I know you guys are looking for an animator. I already applied, but I just want to send you a message to make sure my application didn't get lost and everything. And here's my demo reel, blah, blah, blah. And they actually asked me for an interview, and then they offered me for a job. And actually, I told them during the interview that I already applied from the website, and nobody replied to me for 3 weeks. They were like, oh, that's weird, we're gonna investigate, blah 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 blah. When I joined Method, again, it was a bit weird. First of all, for the first 3 months, they put me to do layout. A lot of people quit internally because they didn't like the project. Again, I always see people coming in the last minute. The director was being fired at the last moment. Again, overall, it didn't look very stable, guys. And so at the end of that experience, I was like, you know what? I've been in Canada in 2 years. In 2 years, I changed 6 apartments, because every time a company hires you, they give you an apartment for 1 month, then you need to search it for yourself. It's always very troublesome, because you have to rent short term. You don't know when you're gonna have next project. This is shit. This is really bad. I don't want to do that. And I feel like, you know what? I don't care about having my shot on a movie or my credit, like the shot I animated wasn't even that great, to be honest. I don't want to work in this anymore, and so I decided to give it a try, go back to games where I had a lot better time. I felt like more I was part of a team. I feel more I was part of a project, because I was not just there for 6 months, but I always been there. All the game company I've been with has been 3 years, and 4 years, and still ongoing right now. So definitely you could feel like you have more time to settle down somewhere, to be part of a project, to be part of a family in a way. I mean, I'm not saying that games is it doesn't have all those issues. You know, those years where you have a lot of layoff, for example, but I think it was more abnormal. Okay. In general, I felt like always, gaming being a lot more stable, quality in animation is gaming is increasing a lot, and so that's why I felt the decision, I don't want to work in feature and visual effects because I have no control over nothing. They can just lay me off like this. They will tell you last minute that they're gonna renew. How can you make any plan with your life? And I don't, you know, pay was good for that time, but I think now in games can be even better. So really not benefits. And still today I see people complaining where about the visual effects feature film industry. Leave. If you're not happy, just leave. I'm not saying it's a bad industry, you cannot have a good career. I'm pretty sure that if you're lucky enough and you enter in a company at the very beginning, you can still have a great time. And I'm pretty sure out there is still a lot of small studio where you can have great times than the big famous studio where they might have all the big projects. You can still have a great times in smaller studios. So I still believe there is hope. It just for me didn't really work very well, right? And I enjoy more working in games right now. But when I see still people, you know, complaining and about this, about that, about the industry, guys, if you're not happy, just leave. Nobody's there pointing a gun at you. Oh, but I want to have my name in this movie, in this and that. That is just your problem. You're just sacrificing your own personal life for zero return, because I can guarantee you, through all my career, having my name in those movies didn't mean anything. Nobody cares. People only care if I know how to animate, if I know how to make my job. In my case, if I know how to manage the team and stuff like that. Doesn't really matter on which movie I've been part of it. At the end of the day, doesn't really matter. So again, if you still are in the case where you're not happy about the industry or stuff like that, or this specific industry, there are plenty of other places where you can work, you can have a better life, and overall having a better balance. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time. Ciao.